Do you think that if you have a food intolerance or something, that it's... Because I used to think, when I first explored kinesiology, and I first got into it because of food intolerances and rashes and stuff, I thought, and what happened for me in the beginning is kinesiology sorted out that problem and I could tolerate gluten and stuff. And then a couple of years later, like now, I can't, for a year I've been off gluten, and I don't think, at the moment, unless something magical happens, that I think that's it. I can't tolerate gluten, can't tolerate alcohol, can't tolerate sugar very well. Okay. And is that like that's because now I'm on my spiritual path and it's going to show me onto this and that?
No. I mean, or is it, you get people seriously on their spiritual path, way ahead of anyone or whatever, who eat meat and drink like fish and are still perfectly okay. Okay. It's got, what a better phrase. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with, I mean, again, it's one of those things that, not it's a fad, that's the wrong word. But it's a very popular thing to say that, you need to be vegetarian, vegan, whatever, to fine up your energy. You are a physical body living here. You have to look after whatever this requires. Yeah. And this may not actually require...
What, the last person?
Yeah, this has got...
evolved.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This has got its own little whatever on the go, and it's up to you to find out whatever this needs. And what this needs is going to be different from your client. And it's like you have to find out what it needs. What you will notice is when you come across times of stress or times of change, it will go a little bit out the window. And that's one of the problems when you are in a process of spiritual speeding up or transformation or self-knowing, is usually there's a lot of changes and a lot of reassessments have to go on, and that's when the system goes stress levels up here, everything else out the window, and it's like, and you then think, fracky, and you've then got to try and pull it all back, probably in a slightly different order. I mean, one of the things to do with working ways to desensitise somebody, and this is tipping on now to, I think it's module 3, but it's like, I describe to people like this. If your body has, if you can imagine, an energy library, and everything it's likely to encounter has got a little book on it. So it's like when you're filling their car up and somebody's doing petrol next door and your body doesn't really like the smell of petrol, it's like, oh shit, there's petrol, and it's like, and you can feel it going, oh, I don't think I like this. On one level, what's happened is the body's gone, okay, that's petrol, let's go into my little library, how do I deal with petrol? Oh, I don't like it, but it's not going to kill me. Put it back, okay? Information is in my library, fine. Okay, so, come across wheat, gluten, right? Normal person's body, if you can call it normal, says, okay, eat my bread. Right, body says, okay, what do we do with this? Off to the library. All right, sweet. It's no problem at all. You just need to have a little bit extra of this, a little bit of, don't have too much, but you're fine. Back, bodies. Okay, I know what to do with it. Right, then can you imagine what happens if your body says, right, I've got some wheat here, or more likely is what she'd just eaten. Go to the library. Not there.
Oh, it would just not be there.
It might be there. It might be there, but that bit of the library's been told you can't come here. Oh. So the body's like, oh, I don't know what it is, and I don't know where to find it out. Therefore, it must be enemy. Well, this is how the body works. It's a bit computer-like, 0 or 1. There's no your binary, and it's like, okay, this is enemy. Right? That's interval. Right? Sick, puke. Go into whatever. Shut down. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else.
Computer says no.
Computer says no. Yeah, get out. And it's like, and it might have been a few weeks ago that the body had its bread or something, went to the library, found the library all right. But they have a shock in between, and then the body's decided that part of the library doesn't exist. And so then what does the body do? Now, a holistic way of doing it is to teach the body either to put a new book back on the library that's headed wheat or gluten, or to remove enough stress off the system so that part of the library becomes open again. So when it next gets it, it thinks, I know where that is, and goes off and gets it. Okay. Now there are various ways of reopening the library or putting a new book on the shelf. I mean, the most holistic way would be to open the library back up again.
Yeah, I like that look. I don't like the new book so
the
much.
The new book has a disadvantage, was that there's still that bit of the library that's closed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so that's and avoiding wheat is just as bad, because that's actually a false situation, right? Because it's like all that's doing is that the body doesn't have to go to the library to find it anymore.
Yeah.
It's not actually dealing with a problem that part of the library has been shut off.
Yeah,
Okay, so you have to find ways of actually opening the library back up again. Now, the classic, it's all just to do with levels of stress, is either generally de-stressing or finding what stress it was that shut the library in the first place and going and moving it, right? There are ways that you can, I wouldn't say force the body, but it's a bit like that. There are ways that you can say to the body,
trick the body.
You know, come here, this is where the book is, you know it's in there, go and get it. Go and get it.
Nate, the N-A-E-T.
No, but there are ways of doing it.
Yeah.
There are ways of actually doing it. And for allergies, it can be quite traumatic to the body. For intolerances, actually the body's quite happy. You know, because it's like, oh, well, it's only just sort of, I was all right, or I'm all right to a certain level. So it's like looking at, I described it to my clients. I talk about it, this is the body library. And ideally in your body library, it's got everything that it needs, and it knows where to go and get everything. The trouble is, because we're human, and because we deal with living and life, we lose bits of the library now and again. Or the book's there, which is even worse, but you can't open the damn thing. You know, you get the right book off and you think, oh yeah, that's sweet. And it's like, it won't open. I don't know what to do. And so the body's got lots of different ways it's going to react to that sort of situation. And so it would be very, very interesting, for example, to see what actually your issue with gluten is where it is in the system. And from either if you're a good dowser or you're a good kinesiologist, there are ways of doing it, but it's whether, I mean, it's like the stuff I did with the young boy, the CCK. I flew by the seat of my pants on that. I really did, because what I ended up doing to him was not in the book. I just went with what his body. I thought, well, I've got the right thing. What does his body want to do with it? I ain't got a clue what to do with it. I thought, well, his body probably does. So he knows what it's, you know, he knows what I need to do. So I had to call on a mixture of my body knowledge and his body knowledge to do it. You know, so there are ways of doing it. I mean, one of the classic ways that they used to do it, I think they still try to do it a lot, is that I think there's a company in Wales that do homeopathic potencies of gluten. And what they do is they give you an increasing dosage to get you back on to being able to use it, which is like teaching the body again. It's like putting a new book on.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, that is probably the most easily to get version if they're not into doing some deep stress release. Because even with things like ME, chronic fatigue, the more stress you release off the body, everything will come back online. I mean, they used to say it was like the ships used to be. They used to have a loading line, plimsoll line. And it's like when you've got something, you've got allergies and intolerances, and if you've got things like chronic fatigue or post-viral, you know, the ship's loaded far too much over the plimsoll line. And what you've got to do is you've got to unload enough stuff so that it comes up to where it should be. And it won't necessarily be the sort of stuff you think it's going to be.
The previous kinesiologist I met, she said that all the food intolerances that she found with people were past life trauma they brought forward.
Can be, but it can also be overuse of one particular food this lifetime.
Yeah, I used to eat a lot of bread when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all did.
Well, that was but the thing is that
it's in lots of other things.
Yeah, but the thing is that when we were younger, the bread wasn't So
didn't have the high protein, high gluten.
Well, no, it was not messed around with.
The wheat
You see,
wasn't engineered.
I was going to say the trouble is now is the flours are flowers, not flour, flowers, the other flours, the bread flours aren't so much messed around with in years gone by. Whereas now they've been messed around with quite a lot, and people are less tolerant to what they are now because they're actually not whole foods.
That's why you go back to spelt.
Or you've got to go back to the old flours that some local people grow, and then they have milled.
Get on better with doves.
Yeah, and certain flowers, because they're more like the original flowers and they haven't been messed about with, and it makes a lot of difference. So, yeah, having too much of something will also tip you, especially if your energy is slightly compromised anyway. You know, it will tip you into that sort of situation with foods.
Apparently, since the war, Canada especially, they modified their wheat for bread production.
Yeah,
especially for the packet, chopped up bread.
yeah,
And that's when they started playing around with it.
yeah.
To increase the gluten.
Yeah, you see, what it is it's no longer a whole food. You know, I mean, and it's even brown bread isn't. I mean, granary bread, good granary bread is a whole food. But then you're not going to eat an awful lot of that. Yeah, but you're not going to eat a lot of that anyway. But it's like when I had Epstein-Barr, I didn't have any wheat for a year because I just couldn't even bear the thought of it. Drove Si absolutely nuts because he's being A group, no wheat, grains, I just couldn't. I just knew I just couldn't hack it. And obviously the virus had scrambled my system so much. So I didn't have any pasta or any bread for over a year. And then very gradually I got back to eating. But even now I have my limits. So much and cut. But it's now I recognise the feeling that I've had enough. But I think it's
I just want to be able to have a bit of, if I went out, just to have a bit without it having.
Well, what I would suggest to you is probably next time is because I don't think we've got any wheat left here. Oh, there might be some of the biscuits, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'll switch off in a minute. We'll have a look, maybe have a break, and actually have a look to see, because that's where we're going now, is looking at what you've picked up about your own systems from today. And see and actually look at some ways that will indicate.
So it's not just that, because I thought that over the last few years I've just become more energy sensitive as I've done these courses and what have you, and that actually that's maybe slightly more sensitive to things that perhaps I could have tolerated before. And I thought, what happens the more I go on, getting more energy, higher vibration, am I not going to be able to eat anything?
No. That's the thing, you see, because that's the mindset that's actually basically asked about face. Because basically the finer vibration you get, that the more solid your body's got to be able to do to hold it.
But what it could be doing is highlighting the stresses that have created the issues.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's more what it is.
That's what I mean.
So we're more sensitive to understanding that there are stresses that need to be released from our body consciousness.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's because of the transformation. You think yourself, actually, yes, I'm carrying that. And
you're able to recognise
you're able
to deal with it, and so your body is giving you the opportunity.
And just saying, look, if you don't deal with it, this is going to be an issue.
So I suppose it's going to the root of it. So what has made you that way? So
rather
you're
than
being given the opportunity to fix that,
that's right.
And that might be an energetic change that could change a whole lot of other.
Don't underestimate. I've been carrying a lot of my family, my ancestral stuff, and that's what's been huge for me in the last few years. Not necessarily what I've done; it's what I'm carrying on behalf of my ancestors.
Well, and it's things like the underlying sensitivity. I mean, certainly underlying sensitivity to things like grains is a blood group thing, which inevitably is an ancestral thing because it's a blood group thing. Because where do you get your blood group from? You inherit it from your ancestors. So you're going to have that. So and the question then is do I go back to eating like my ancestors are, or do I find a way of actually dealing with some of it and allowing it to change. Yes, it gets to be quite interesting, but certainly I think as the more, and I think also the more the way environmental, and I mean like cosmically environmental energies have been, particularly the last, 4 or 5 years, they've been increasing frequency of challenges to change.
Yes.
And I think certainly the last 18 months, I think for some people have been incredibly uncomfortable.
Because they're resistant to the change.
Yeah, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on many levels. And this is what we mean by multi-levels, where you can't just think of people on the physical level, because it's going to have an effect on other levels as well. And it's like, and if you're not listening, or you're not able to, because of circumstances, listen to what the body's telling you, then, you can get in a bit of a state. I mean, because there are not many people, Ariana's probably okay, and to some extent I'm okay with Si, is that I can go into a supermarket and look around at the fruit and veg section and suddenly think, wow, I need that, and go and buy it, to some extent, because there's just the two of us and you're dealing with mostly one of you. When you've got a family, it's not so easy to just go and think, I could murder a so-and-so today, because you've got to think of what else they're going to eat, and then they're probably feeling the same, and you'd end up with a really hefty supermarket bill. So you've actually got to cut even across the board, just for sheer practicality. You can't just go completely following what the body's after from an energetic point of view.
It's tricky. I've cooked sort of 3 meals for our family, and I've been doing it for too long now. I've had enough.
Yeah, and you're thinking, there's got to be
something easier to do.
Yeah, there must be a way. There must be a way of helping us to tolerate it.
Yeah. So, as the sensitivity of your son, has that come through your side of the family?
Oh, not necessarily. No.
Or is it both sides?
I think it's both sides actually. And I think my daughter is intolerant to gluten. I haven't had her tested with kinesiology, because once that's settled, then it's official. You know what I mean? But I've been taking her off gluten, and her tummy stopped hurting.
Yeah.
She's just got more energy, and I'm thinking, oh God.
So what blood groups are they? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know what they are actually. I can find out. Rosie did have stuff when she was little, so
you can get test kits from some.
Yeah, I don't know whether I still got some. I don't know whether I still got some in the drawer.
It's one of those supplementary people. They do. Test kits.
I have to prick them. And then
and then you've got little circles. I used to have some in the drawer in the kitchen. I don't know if I've got any left.
Google it, blood test kits.
That's quite good at,
Yeah, so I say I might have some in the drawer in the kitchen, but I'm not sure whether they're still there.
It's very easy, it soon shows.
Yeah, but it's very useful to know, because at least it's like that, I mean, especially for children, because you can't really take them through an Ayurveda question and answer so easily. So blood test is probably the quickest way to ascertain what the bottom line is, because you need to know what the bottom line is. I mean, to some extent we'll be able to tell from their charts as well, but you need to know what their bottom line is. So what their predilection is. Because I ended up with two children B+, which is really unusual, same as their dad, and one child that was same as me. So I ended up with one carnivore and two kids who got the most incredibly sensitive, unusual immune system sensitivities, but it wasn't to do with food, it was to do with the environment. And then I had Robin, and it's like, all she ate for about the first 7 years was roast beef and baked beans. It's like, she's really different. And then, of course, when I got to the blood group thing, I was like, oh God, that's why.
I have to read that blood group book again.
The
other day.
I said it's worth it. I know that I said some people recently said, it doesn't mean anything, but I always found it does. It worked. It's fine.
The OB is the most common, isn't it? That one. Which is the most common blood group?
I think in this country it's O positive, isn't it?
No, it's A. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think it's OA. No, you see, O is
the one that they can use for all blood types.
So that's why O negative is so. Ooh, yes, we'll have you please, because it literally can do anybody. I mean, they always used to pull my ex-husband in because his is very unusual. anyway, and of course my 2 older kids are the same, and because his is a B positive or AB positive is really something's rather strange. And that's Tibetan, interestingly. It's roots in Tibet. Whereas, of course, O is roots in Africa, as A is roots in the Middle East.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that now.
Yeah. And of course, group A is classical vegetarian.
Yeah.
Whereas B is the only group that can tolerate dairy properly, because they've got the enzymes to do the dairy properly. Whereas
where's B from?
Tibet.
Tibet.
And O, of course, is a hunter-gatherer, so not expected to have any brains at all.
Yeah, my mum's that one because she can eat meat until it's coming out of her ears. And my father's, I said, well, Dad, you've got to be an A group because I've got it from somewhere and it's not Mum, it must be you.
Yeah.
And he's got all the food intolerances.
Yeah, it is. It's a classic. Yeah. It's a classic food. I mean, O's problem tends to be low action thyroid, arthritis, and obviously gluten sensitivity to some extent because they're not used to dealing with wheat. But on the other hand, A's going to probably have it because they're used to dealing with it too much. But yeah, so I'm absolute classic O blood group because it's like dry side nuts. It's one thing I can quite happily eat meat and fruit on the same plate, and it drives him crazy.
No, that's so wrong.
I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
You have a robust constitution.
No, it's not. It's just I've got an O. I've got an O constitution.
Which is robust.
Well, it's robust as far as that's concerned.
Not in others.
See, I thought I was O negative, but I've never enjoyed eating meat, and I really do not do well on a high meat diet.
Yeah, but maybe you just need a bit.
A bit.
You see, I'm all right until I'm
good with fish.
Yeah, until I'm ill, because I can eat anything and I can go veggie. But when I was ill. I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night. I remember saying, "What's up with you?" I said, "I could murder liver and onions."
No.
They said, "What?" And it's like the body just suddenly thought,
well,
I know what I need.
I've had a couple of times in my life where that has happened.
And it was
like, you must eat some chicken now.
Yeah, and it was one of those, and it was like, where did that come from? So anyway, Bessie's consults next day went and got me some, and my body went like, and it's because of all the minerals. The huge. It's a very good way of getting minerals in very quickly. It's just that the body just went, oh yeah, that's all right. And then it just carried on normally. But it was like it was the middle of the night job. It was like saying, and it was like you will. It was like you're not getting to sleep unless you tell somebody. Because I wasn't in any fit state to go out to the supermarket and stuff. Unless you tell somebody that this is what you need.